Welcome to News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery.
Welcome to the West Texas View on this wonderful Sunday morning. I am so pleased to welcome back two of the people from the Samaritan Counseling Center. The Samaritan Counseling Center is just one of my favorite facilities that services the whole West Texas area and counseling of all ages, from little tiny children all the way through senior citizens. And we senior citizens need more and more counseling. All the in-between people, the veterans, the husband and wife counseling, the family counseling. So a broad base of counseling services. And Dr. Mark Alexander was here last Sunday, and joining him today is Annabelle Gardaphe, who is the development director, and she's going to talk a little bit about how this is funded so that everybody can get counseling services that need it, whether they have insurance or not, whether they were referred by a doctor, whether they have an employee plan at work that allows them to have counseling. And before we start, Dr. Alexander, I want you to explain concisely the mission of the Samaritan Counseling Center.
We have a threefold mission. That mission is to, number one, provide faith-based professional counseling services to our community area, 31 counties. It is to promote healing and wholeness in the lives of the people that we see, and to complement the ministry of our religious community. We're a faith-based service. We hire professional counselors who are licensed by the state, and we do our best to promote healing and wholeness in the lives of those who come see us. And at the same time, we do everything we can to enhance what's happening in the religious community. That means that pastors and other folks on church staffs may refer people to us. It means that we may hold a clergy workshop once or twice a year for some aspect that would be educational and formational for clergy to understand what we do at Samaritan, but also enhance what they do in their own ministry life.
Or to help them, I know that we did a teacher workshop one time to help them see the symptoms of need for counseling. One of the reasons that we have been able to branch out and have some satellite campuses, add more therapists, is because of the work of the development office, which writes the grants, raises the funds, has the big benefit once a year that really is as much an attention getter as it is a fundraiser. But tell us a little bit about the funding base of the Samaritan Counseling Center.
Well, 80% of our clients receive some sort of assistance. We have a fund called our Client Assistant Fund, and it's kind of like a scholarship fund for low income or underinsured individuals who otherwise would not be able to receive counseling. And so we write for local, state, and federal grants, and those grants help fund the Client Assistance Fund. We also have a fundraiser in the fall, and it's our Family of the Year event. And we do a spring appeal, which also helps to raise money for the Client Assistance Fund.
How lucky you were to be given this building, even though you had to pay off the mortgage. That has just been a godsend. And then in our satellites, you usually use some facilities that are already there, like a church meeting room or something like that. But one of the things that I remember so clearly was that we received a special grant when I was on the board to do just for a very small population, and it was for single mothers who were having problems with child-parent relationships, and parents that didn't know how to deal with their teenager or deal with their preteen. And we had so much feedback of what a positive thing that was. So just these relationship skills that a lot of parents think, oh, you just have to muddle through, but you really don't. There's professional help available. And the next thing I wanted to talk about is that there are a lot of churches in our whole West Texas area that take this as part of their mission, and they donate money.
We have quite a few churches who, across the West Texas area, who from who we receive donations every year. In 2013, I think we received just under $20,000 from different various churches.
And sometimes a church might give for a particular family, but others might give a monthly sum to go to anybody and to help. So there's a lot of ways that the churches can get involved. And I wanted to go back to something that Mark said. You talked about the component of the faith-based counseling. And so these are therapists and counselors that are trained as counselors and therapists, but then they have the additional layer of being trained as a faith-based pastoral counselor.
And one of the things we try to do is be sensitive to whatever religious context a person may come from. And quite honestly, we have clients who come to us and say, I don't want any of that in my therapy. We have other folks who have no association with a faith-based organization at all, but may say to our therapist, I'd like to hear that perspective. And so we try to take the context from which a client comes and just enhance that. You might be interested to know in 2013, the New York Times published an article that was a review of a longitudinal study that said, primarily a population of about 100,000 people, double-blind type study, that folks who come to a therapeutic relationship with a counselor and seek that kind of relationship, if they come from a faith-based understanding, their therapy works better for them, they have better outcomes, and they're more hopeful when they begin than those who do not. So any opportunity that we have to say to a person who comes to us as a client, there's another aspect of this to look at, it's the human soul, and because we want to promote healing and wholeness for you in the totality of who you are, here's a perspective you may want to think about. And so our therapists don't push that on anyone, but if the opportunity is given and a person wants that perspective, then we also know, not only scientifically but experientially, that folks do better when they have that perspective.
And how interesting it is that we're just now coming to that. When as I said, Viktor Frankl started saying that that you couldn't heal yourself if you didn't look at the whole person.
Correct.
And so that's essentially what you're saying. Then I wanted us to talk about, especially, I'm so pleased about our veterans programs and how we fund those things.
We received a grant in 2013 from the Texas Veterans Commission, and that grant allows veterans from the Iraqi and Afghanistan wars and their families to receive free counseling at no cost to them. And
their families?
Yes,
and their
Miss
families.
Johnny Lou. And we have about 20 veterans a month who come to us.
20 veterans, wow. And are most of these referred from the VA hospital, or do they self-refer?
They come from a variety of experiences. Some of them are referred by the Vet Center. Some of them are referred by the Texas Veterans Commission. Some of them come by word of mouth. And more often than not, we'll receive a phone call at the office that says, I know of someone who needs some care, they're a veteran, can you help? And our answer is always, of course.
Yes. We're going to have to take a break right now. We'll be back in just a minute and continue this conversation.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.